Welcome! This informational video will discuss 4 contingency theories, including the initial contingency leadership theory, the continuum theory, the path-goal leadership theory, and the leadership substitutes theory. An explanation of how to implement the substitutes theory into my current organization will also be given. Enjoy! In 1951, Fred Fiedler was the first theorist to suggest effective leadership is more situational based rather than based on a leader's personality traits and behavioral decisions. He implied that a leadership style used in certain situations determines whether a leader is meant to stay in a specific job or not. Fiedler believed that leadership styles could not change. Rather, a leader should change jobs before changing his or her style. Situational favorableness refers to the amount of influence a leader has based on a given situation. Most notable is the relationship a leader has with his or her followers. The more positive relationships are, the better the situation is. Next important is task structure. The more clear and structured routine tasks are, the more positive the situation is. Least important is the power of a leader's position. The stronger the leader's power is, the more favorable the situation is. Fiedler highly recommends the leader to change the situation or the job if his or her leadership style does not match. Robert Tannenbaum and Warren Schmidt developed the continuum theory in the 1950s. They theorized that a leader's behavior was on a 7-point continuum from boss-centered to subordinate-centered. 3 variables determined who made decisions within this continuum. Was the leader or the followers making the decisions? Were the decisions being made based on the situation or available time? This visual shows the continuum of leadership behaviors. If decisions are more boss-centered, the leader is behaving in the range of 1 to 3. If decisions are more participative or subordinate-centered, the leader is behaving in the 5 to 7 range. In 1971, Robert House adopted the path-goal theory, originally developed by M.G. Evans. Although this theory is similar to previous contingency theories, it does not include personality traits or behavioral decision-making. Rather, its premise is based on the goal-setting and expectancy motivational theories. Regardless of the leader's personality and behavioral decisions, he or she chooses the best leadership style determined by the given situation and/or the followers. The leader chooses to direct, support, participate, or achieve as a means of motivating subordinates to achieve either individual or organizational goals. This visual shows how leadership styles are chosen as a means to meet challenges and attain the end goal of either the employee or the organization. Stephen Kerr and John Jeremier believed the role of leader was not always necessary and sometimes prevented followers' motivation to be successful. Situations which were outside the leader's control do not require the leader's involvement, no matter what his or her style, personality traits, or behavioral decisions were. Neutralizers reduce or limit the effectiveness of leadership. In these instances, substitutes for leadership are necessary to replace the need for a leader. With knowledge and training, as well as clear routine and explicit direction, followers can work together in self-managed teams to achieve expectations. This flowchart is an excellent tool to determine when the substitutes theory should be used and why. Take a moment to examine the various pathways and results. After learning about these contingency theories, the conclusion can be reached that there is not one leadership style which is effective in all situations. However, it is believed that the most effective theory for this organization in most situations is the leadership substitutes theory. In this organization, there are 8 buildings, each with its own building level leader and committees. Each building has their own process and procedures based on that building's culture and needs. Despite their individuality, each leader and supporting committees support district-wide initiatives. District-level leaders are in a separate office building, which can make leading from afar difficult. Due to this, having clear, consistent, and frequent communication with all stakeholders is of utmost importance. To implement the substitutes theory, a district-wide committee with representatives from each building and stakeholder group should be established. Since it is difficult to move an initiative forward with large groups of people, this committee should be split into subcommittees. An overarching body of decision makers should be developed, which would include representatives from each subcommittee. These small groups of followers will be given specific tasks, as well as gather feedback to be shared with the overarching committee in order to adjust challenges. Administrators and building committees would need to ensure that changes are in place. To keep everyone accountable and motivated to follow through with the initiative, district-level leaders would conduct fidelity checks. As challenges arose, the district-wide committee, specifically the overarching committee, would make adjustments based on feedback from stakeholders. Everything cannot be successfully implemented at once. Layers would slowly be added for continual improvement. Thank you for joining me and attending to this informational video.